You ever look back on a moment and realize it was the beginning of the end, but at the time, it felt like just another Tuesday? For me, that moment came wrapped in ribbon and tissue paper right around our 8th wedding anniversary. My wife, Rachel, handed me a gift over breakfast. The kids were at school. The dog had finally stopped barking. The house smelled like toast and something overly citrus from one of those candles she always lit when she was up to something. "Open it," she said, beaming like a woman with a clean conscience. Spoiler, she didn't. I peeled back the wrapping, already suspicious. Rachel never bought gifts. She was more of a let's just do dinner type, which I never minded. Less pressure, more wine. But this year? A box, neatly wrapped, with a handwritten card that read, "To the man who still makes my heart race." Inside? A chef's knife. Not a set. Just one, sleek, obsidian handle, Japanese steel, the kind they showcase in magazines next to dishes no one really knows how to pronounce. "You've been watching all those cooking shows lately," she said. "Figured I'd help you level up." I smiled. I even said thank you. But in the pit of my stomach, something shifted. "See, I've been watching cooking shows, yeah, but she hasn't noticed that I stopped 3 months ago. And I'm not being petty. I just stopped because we stopped watching them together. Marriage is like that. Sometimes it's not the big fights, but the little silences that yell the loudest." Still, I gave her a kiss. Made pancakes with a new knife. Didn't cut myself, though the irony would have been rich. The day went on like normal. Rachel left for work with that same overdone lipstick and the perfume she only wore for client meetings. I stayed home, working remote, tapping at spreadsheets while the house got quieter. Around 3 p.m., her phone buzzed on the counter. She'd forgotten it. I didn't mean to look. But you know how it is. When the house is quiet and the universe wants you to find something, it lays the breadcrumbs. One text notification. From a name I didn't recognize, Gavin B., smirking face. I stared at it. No message preview. Just the name, the emoji, and my gut clenching like I'd eaten raw regret for breakfast. But I didn't open it. Not yet. I placed the phone back where I found it, untouched. See, I'm not the jealous type. I'm the patient type. The gather your facts before you drop the hammer type. And if Rachel was hiding something? Well, she wasn't going to get the clean getaway she thought she would. The name stuck in my head like a song you don't like but can't stop humming. Gavin B., smirking face. Who adds a smirk to a contact unless they're either mocking you or kissing you? That evening, Rachel came home like nothing was out of the ordinary. Dropped her bag by the door, poured herself a glass of red like it was muscle memory. I watched her from the kitchen, hands still a little wet from rinsing rice. "How was your day?" I asked. She shrugged. "Busy. Jennifer from HR is losing her mind again. I swear, she couldn't organize socks if you gave her 2 drawers and a label maker." Jennifer. Right. We've apparently hated Jennifer for 5 years. But here's the thing. I've always paid attention. That's what makes this sting later, because I know what was there before it wasn't. Rachel used to tell stories with her hands. Now she just waves them dismissively, like she's swatting at flies that only she sees. I nodded. "Need help unwinding?" She smiled, kissed my cheek. "You cooking?" "Smells good." That's when I saw it. Her eyes darted toward the counter. To the phone. Her smile dipped for half a second. Not long, but enough. Then it was back, like a mask slipping back into place. I played it cool. "Yeah, just trying out that knife. It's nice. Real sharp." Her brows lifted. "Good." I wasn't sure which one was best, so I asked the guy at the store. Interesting. She never asks for help with anything. I've seen her return a couch because the stitching didn't vibe with the rug after I spent 2 hours assembling it. Dinner came and went. The kids talked about school. Rachel played the part of attentive mom, and I played dumb. I'm pretty good at it when I need to be. Got through high school algebra on the art of confident nonsense. Later that night, when she was in the shower, I checked the phone. Yeah, I know. Privacy. But when something in your marriage starts to smell off, you don't wait to see if it's the trash or a dead rat in the walls. I unlocked it. No passcode. She really didn't think she'd need one. I opened the messages. Scrolled to Gavin B. And there it was. A dozen messages. Some innocent. That joke you made during lunch. Still laughing face with tears of joy. Hope your meeting doesn't run long. I've got something to show you later, winking face. Missed you today. Felt weird not seeing your face. My fingers went still. My jaw clenched. This wasn't some guy flirting in the dark. This was sunlight level exposure. Comfort. Familiarity. Frequency. Too frequent. The kind you only get with repetition and permission. And that's when I started my own file. I took screenshots, emailed them to myself, erased my trail, shut the phone off, and placed it right back where she left it. By the time she came out of the shower, towel wrapped like a halo around her hair, I was reading a book I wasn't absorbing a single word of. "Everything okay?" she asked. I looked up and smiled. "Yeah," I said. "Everything's just fine." The next morning, I didn't kiss her goodbye. That wasn't on purpose, not at first. I just got caught up packing the kids' lunches and making sure Noah didn't forget his science project, the one he built upside down on accident and swore it was an artistic choice. Rachel left in a rush, calling out, "Love you," over her shoulder like she was tossing crumbs to a bird. I didn't say it back. Instead, I stood in the kitchen, staring at my coffee like it might spell something out in the foam. Gavin. Who was this guy? I needed to know more than just his name and emoji. I needed a face, a history, a reason. So I did what any man with too much suspicion and a decent Wi-Fi connection would do. I Googled Gavin B. plus her company. Nothing. Gavin B. plus LinkedIn. Boom. Gavin Barnes. Sales manager. Same company. Office 2 floors above hers. Profile picture. Tan, smug, too many teeth. One of those guys who still wears sunglasses on his head indoors like he's 2 drinks away from calling a woman babe in line at Target. Suddenly, so many things clicked. The late meetings. The gym gear she kept in the trunk but never wore. The way she had started humming again in the mornings, a lightness in her step that had nothing to do with me. I wasn't losing my mind. I was losing my wife. And the worst part? She was helping him do it. That night, I waited until she was asleep. Her breathing slowed the way it always did when she hit that deep, peaceful stage. I slipped out of bed, sat on the edge of the guest room, and opened my laptop. The file I'd started, let's call it what it was now, the case against Rachel, was growing. Messages. Photos of her car parked in odd places I started logging on my lunch break. A lunch receipt left in her coat pocket, 2 meals, 1 wine. But what really did it? What tore the blindfold off? Her email. She had synced her work inbox to the shared iPad. Probably forgot. And there it was. An invite from Gavin. Subject line, private offsite, just as this time winking face. Attached, a PDF of a hotel reservation. 2 nights. Out of town. Next weekend. She had told me she was going to her sister's. To reconnect. I even nodded when she said it. Offered to watch the kids without complaint. I sat there, staring at the screen, my hands colder than the room. She wasn't just cheating. She was scheduling it, planning it, smiling about it. And suddenly, the knife she gave me felt a lot less like a gift and a lot more like a message. She was cutting me out, 1 slice at a time. I woke up before my alarm. Not because I wanted to, but because sleep had become optional. You ever try resting in a bed where trust used to live? It's like lying down in a room slowly filling with water. You know it's killing you, but you stay anyway, thinking maybe if you stay still enough, it'll drain on its own. I looked over at Rachel, still asleep, hair spread out like she was auditioning for a shampoo commercial. Peaceful, comfortable, probably dreaming of Gavin and his discount cologne. I stood and got dressed quietly. Not just work clothes, mental armor. The version of me that used to believe in our marriage wasn't going to survive this week, but the version that came after? He was ready for war. Calm, calculating, smiling when necessary. I left the house with one mission in mind: get control. By 9 a.m., I had a burner phone and a new cloud folder Rachel didn't know existed. I set up a free email under the name Mason Grant, always like that name. Sounds like the kind of guy who makes clean exits and drives cars with leather interiors. I forwarded every screenshot, hotel confirmation, and message I'd collected so far. Not because I didn't trust myself with the truth, but because I wanted a backup in case things got messy. You don't build a parachute after the fall begins. Next, I called the hotel from the email reservation. I gave Gavin's name, said I was with his company's accounting department, and asked if the reservation could be modified to add a second room on the company card. The front desk didn't blink. Of course, Mr. Barnes, the woman chirped. Would you like adjoining suites? Oh, I would. I very much would. I hung up, smiled. The hotel now believed Gavin was bringing a colleague. Perfect. That night, Rachel brought home takeout. Thai. My favorite. She hadn't done that in months. Thought you could use a break, she said, dropping the bag on the table like it was peace offering, not a bribe. Thanks, I replied, kissing her cheek. It took everything I had not to flinch when I felt her skin. Not because I hated her, but because I missed her. The real her. The one I married. We ate in silence while the kids played upstairs. Rachel kept checking her phone between bites, laughing to herself once or twice like someone reading an inside joke. Something funny? I asked. Huh? Oh, just a meme Jennifer sent. Oh, Jennifer. Our new scapegoat. She looked up at me. You've been quiet lately. Everything okay? I nodded. Just work stress. Want to talk about it? I stared at her for a second too long. She didn't blink. No, I said finally. But thanks. We cleaned up. She kissed me again before heading to bed. I stayed downstairs a little longer. Waited until she was asleep. Then I went back into our shared iPad. More emails. She was confirming the rental car this time. Even picked a cozy, quiet restaurant 2 blocks from the hotel. I memorized it all. Not because I needed more proof. No, I needed patterns. That's how you dismantle a person without ever raising your voice. You show them the blueprints of their betrayal in your hand and say, I built this while you were busy tearing us down. The next morning, I started phase 2. I met with a lawyer. Not because I was filing for divorce. Not yet. But because if I was going to burn down the house, I wanted to do it legally and still keep the furniture. He looked over the messages, the travel plans, the burner copies. You've done half my job for me, he said, flipping through the folder. I'm not looking to ruin her. I just want her to know I'm not the guy she thought I was. Most people don't plan this far ahead. They explode. Call everyone. Torch the car. I shrugged. I'm not most people. He nodded. You'll want to wait until the trip is over, then hit her with everything. Catch her flat-footed. You tell her beforehand, she'll spin it. Make you the villain. That's the idea, I said. He leaned forward. You're calm now. But are you sure you're ready for what comes next? I looked him dead in the eye. She's already gone. I'm just cleaning up the mess. Back home, I was a model husband. I folded laundry. I cooked. I laughed with the kids. I even planned a fake guy's night out for the same weekend she'd be gone. Just so she'd feel covered, secure, guilt-free. She was practically glowing that week. She told me she loved me twice. It almost hurt. Almost. The night before she left, I helped pack her suitcase. Slipped in a small note when she wasn't looking. Have fun with Gavin. I'll see you soon. She wouldn't find it right away. But when she did, oh, she'd feel it. See, I wasn't just building a trap. I was building a moment. A mirror. So she could look into it and finally see what she'd done, stripped of excuses, stripped of denial. No yelling. No drama. Just a front row seat to her own undoing. She left Friday morning with a smile and a kiss like it meant something. You sure you'll be okay with the kids? She asked, wheeling her suitcase to the door. Of course, I said. Go enjoy your sister time. She laughed. I don't know how much relaxing we'll do. She's been a mess lately. Probably just wine and crying. Sounds cathartic. She gave me that look, half sincere, half something else. Then she was gone. Just like that. No guilt. No second glance. I stood by the window, watching her car shrink down the road like a disappearing conscience. When she was out of sight, I turned back into the house, scooped up the burner phone, and grabbed my bag. The kids were already packed for a weekend at my sister's place. They thought we were having boys' weekend. And honestly, we were. Just not the kind with popcorn and superheroes. After I dropped them off and made sure they were settled, I drove 3 hours north to the hotel. The same one from her reservation. The woman at the desk recognized the name I gave, Gavin Barnes, and smiled like we were all in on the same joke. Adjoining suites, she said. Just like you requested. I nodded, took both key cards, and walked to the elevator. When I stepped into my room, it felt sterile, neat, romantic, in that corporate wine and bad decisions kind of way. I didn't unpack. I didn't sit. I opened the adjoining door slightly, just enough to hear when she entered. I didn't have to wait long. Around 4 p.m., the handle rattled on the other side. I froze, listening. The sound of heels. Laughter. Hers. Then a male voice. Confident. Low. Like he knew he was safe here. I told you this place was perfect, he said. It is, Rachel replied. Better than last time. Last time. There it was. No guessing. No assumptions. Just a clear admission in surround sound. I backed away from the door, heart calm in my chest. Not even trembling. It was strange, how peace could sit quietly inside you when you stopped hoping things weren't true. They moved around the room. Rustling. Talking. Planning dinner. I waited until I was sure they were relaxed. until the voices faded into casual murmurs. Then I knocked on the connecting door. Silence. Then the cautious shuffle of footsteps. Then Rachel's voice. Hello. I cleared my throat. Room service. Pause. Then the handle turned. When the door opened, she was mid-laugh, eyes bright, and then she saw me. And everything stopped. She froze. I stepped forward, calm as the tide. Her eyes darted past me, back into the room. Hi, Rachel, I said. Surprised to see me? She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Her skin went pale, then red, then something in between. She looked like a woman caught standing on a rug that had just been yanked out from under her entire life. Behind her, Gavin appeared. Tall, smug, hair just messy enough to say, I don't do effort, but styled enough to prove he absolutely did. Who's this? He asked, looking me up and down. I smiled. I'm the husband, I said. You must be the midlife crisis. He flinched like I'd flicked him with a glove. Rachel stepped in between us, hands up. Logan, what are you doing here? Just making sure you enjoyed your little vacation. Looks like you packed light, just one bag and zero integrity. She tried to speak. I held up a hand. No need, I said. I know everything. The messages, the emails, the hotel reservation, the fake sister trip. I've seen it all. Gavin glanced at her. You told me you were separated. She closed her eyes. I was going to. You were going to lie to him too, I said. Nice. At least you're consistent. He stepped back, muttering something about not needing this kind of drama. Rachel didn't stop him. I didn't either. He grabbed his keys and coat, avoided eye contact, and walked out the door like a man who realized he'd just been a chapter, not the story. Rachel sat on the edge of the bed, deflated. Smaller than I'd ever seen her. I didn't sit. I didn't shout. I just stood there, watching her with the same look someone might give a cracked mirror. You want to know what hurts? I said. It's not that you cheated. It's that you turned our life into a performance. And I was the only one in the audience who didn't know it was fiction. I never meant to it. Stop. I cut in. I didn't come here for a confession. Or closure. I came here because I wanted you to see what it looks like when the lie runs out of road. She wiped at her eyes, but I didn't flinch. You thought I'd never find out, I continued. Or maybe you thought I'd find out too late. But here's the thing, Rachel. I stepped closer. Her eyes lifted to meet mine. You built this mess. And now, you get to live in it. I pulled out a small manila envelope and dropped it on the bed beside her. Inside, copies of the screenshots, a list of hotel dates, a printout of our shared calendar with the lies highlighted in yellow. This is the evidence I gave to my lawyer, I said. She looked up sharply. Lawyer? Yep. You'll be hearing from him on Monday. Consider this weekend your closing ceremony. She blinked. You're ending it. No, I said. You ended it. I'm just the guy turning off the lights. Then I walked back to my room, shut the door, and locked it. She didn't follow. She knew better. I drove home the next morning without a single song playing. Not because the radio was broken. Just didn't feel right giving that moment a soundtrack. There's a kind of silence that feels earned, you know? The kind that sits next to you like an old friend who doesn't ask questions, just knows. That's what it felt like as I pulled into the driveway of a house that didn't quite feel like home anymore. Rachel's car wasn't there. Good. I wasn't in the mood to host an encore performance. I picked the kids up from my sister's place. They climbed into the car, laughing, asking about pizza for dinner and if we could rent a movie. Just kids, thank God. Blissfully unaware of the war their dad had just walked out of with zero casualties, visible, at least. I smiled. Pizza and a movie? Sounds like a plan. That night, we made a fort in the living room. Ate greasy slices under a tent of old blankets and told dumb jokes until they were asleep in a pile of laughter and crumbs. I sat there long after they dozed off, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I'd explain it to them. Not now. Not yet. But one day. Because the truth? It always comes for you. One way or another. The first call came Sunday afternoon. Rachel. I didn't answer. She followed it with a text. Please. We need to talk. I don't want this to end like this. Like this. As if there was a right way to wrap a betrayal in ribbon and call it closure. I left her on read. She tried again that night. Call. Text. Email. One even said, you blindsided me. I wasn't ready. Wasn't ready. Imagine being surprised that the person you stabbed didn't just bleed quietly. Monday morning, the lawyer served her at work. Yes, I could have done it in private. But I gave her a public lie. Seemed fitting that she get a public truth. Apparently, it caused a scene. I got a message from someone in her office, anonymous, but it said, "She cried in the break room for 45 minutes. Gavin won't even make eye contact. Well played." I didn't respond. But I won't lie. I read that one twice. That evening, my phone rang again. "Rachel." I answered this time. She didn't speak right away. Just breathed. Like she was bracing for impact. "Logan," she finally said. "Yep. I'm sorry." Silence. "That's not a fix," I said. "That's just a punctuation mark." "I know. Can we talk?" "Really talk?" I walked into the garage and closed the door behind me. "You mean like how you talked to Gavin in hotel rooms while telling me you were helping your sister through a divorce? That's not fair," she snapped. "There it is," I said, smiling to myself. Took less than a minute to get back to deflection. "I'm not deflecting. I just didn't think you'd go this far. You cheated. I made dinner. You lied. I paid the bills. And now, because I decided to stop being your personal doormat, I'm the one who went too far. I'm still the kid's mother. I never said otherwise. But that doesn't mean I have to be your husband." Her voice cracked. "I never stopped loving you." "That's funny," I said, "because I watched you try really hard." She went quiet again. I could hear her trying not to cry. "Do they know?" she whispered. "The kids?" "No. And they won't. At least not from me." "Why?" "Because someone in this family should still have dignity." She sobbed softly, then harder. I didn't interrupt. When she finally stopped, I said one last thing. "Rachel, I didn't burn the house down. I just stopped pretending it wasn't already on fire." Then I hung up. The next few weeks were strangely peaceful. The divorce process moved faster than I expected. She didn't contest much. Maybe guilt, maybe exhaustion. Maybe she realized trying to spin this would just make the wreckage more obvious. The kids stayed with me most of the time. She had them every other weekend, and even then, I packed their bags like they were visiting a different planet. They didn't ask questions. But they were quieter around her now. Like some instinct in them sensed a shift even if they couldn't name it. One night, Noah looked up at me and asked, "Are you and Mom gonna be okay?" I didn't lie. I just said, "We're gonna try to be good parents. That's what matters." He nodded and went back to his Legos. Sometimes kids don't need the details. They just need your steadiness. A month after the hotel confrontation, I got an email from Gavin. Subject line, "Man to man." I almost deleted it. But curiosity got the better of me. He wrote, "Logan, I owe you an apology. I didn't know the full truth when we started. Rachel told me you were distant, that things were broken. Still doesn't justify it. I should have walked away. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted to say I respect how you handled it. I would have lost it. You didn't. For what it's worth, we're not seeing each other anymore. It wasn't real. Not really. Take care. Gavin." I didn't reply. Not out of spite. Just what was left to say. He was a footnote. A chapter. A poorly written one, at that. And me? I was already writing something new. Funny thing about betrayal, it doesn't stay quiet. By week 5, Rachel's version of the story started making the rounds. First among mutual friends, then slowly bleeding into family group chats like some polite little virus. According to her, it had all been complicated. A communication breakdown. A temporary emotional mistake. She never used the word affair. Instead, she painted a picture where I had grown distant, emotionally unavailable, maybe even cold. Gavin was just a side effect, like a rebound from a bad knee. People started reaching out. She said it wasn't physical. "She told me you stopped being present years ago. Maybe you two just lost your spark. You ever get blamed for someone else lighting a match?" I didn't argue. I just smiled. Waited. Until one day, a close friend, our close friend, Jenna, called me. "She's posting photos again," Jenna said. "With the kids. Making it look like you're the absent one." I didn't even sigh. I just opened the folder I'd kept. Labeled it neatly. The narrative kit. Inside, timestamped screenshots, calendar overlaps, the works. I didn't send them to everyone. Just a few people who needed reminders. 10 minutes later, my phone lit up with texts. "Well, didn't know it was that deep. Should have never doubted you, man." Rachel's PR campaign didn't last much longer after that. There's no playbook for what happens after a life falls apart cleanly. Nobody tells you that the absence of chaos can be just as loud. But I leaned into it. I started small. Got a new bed. New sheets. Boxed up the ones we shared. Even the expensive ones she picked out from that home boutique she used to drag me into like it was a second church. I learned to cook for just me and the kids. It's different than cooking for a spouse. You stop trying to impress. You just feed. And you talk. And you listen. No one rolls their eyes when you burn the toast. No one critiques your playlist. It's just you and them and peace. I joined a gym, not out of revenge. Not to win the breakup. Just because I needed to feel strong again. I took up boxing. Hit something that couldn't hit back. By month 3, I had my own rhythm. The kids were thriving. Homework got done. Laughter came back into the house like it never left. I even caught myself whistling once. Rachel dropped them off one night and stood in the doorway a little too long. "You've lost weight," she said. "Stress burns fast," I replied. She lingered. "You seem different." "I am." She looked like she wanted to say more, but I didn't invite her in. That chapter? It was sealed shut. I don't consider myself a cruel man, but I believe in precision, in balance. And when someone takes something from you without permission, you don't ask for it back. You remind them that taking it had consequences. So one day, I made a visit. Quiet. Legal. Final. See, while Rachel had been distracted planning candlelit infidelity, I'd been quietly collecting power of attorney over some of our joint holdings. She never read the forms. She just signed, assuming, as always, I'd be the dependable one. Turns out, she'd parked some of her personal funds in our shared investment accounts. Assumed I'd protect them. I didn't touch a dime. Until the divorce was finalized. Then I withdrew exactly half. The message was simple. You wanted a separation? Here's one with interest. I didn't even warn her. Just let her bank statement deliver the punch. 2 days later, she called. "You emptied our account." "Correction," I said. "My account. The joint one doesn't exist anymore. That was for my new apartment. The deposit. The furniture. You'll figure it out." "You're punishing me." "No," I said. "I'm simply not saving you anymore." Click. Cruel? Maybe. But sometimes justice isn't loud. It's just fair. A year passed. Quick and quiet. The divorce papers gathered dust in a drawer I didn't open anymore. Rachel had faded into the background of my life, like a radio station just out of range. We didn't speak unless we had to. She moved into a modest apartment. From what I heard, Gavin didn't stick around long. Apparently, his type doesn't make great stepdads. The kids? Still with me. They seemed to understand, in their own quiet way, what had happened. Maybe not the details, but they knew I never left. And that's what mattered. One night, after dinner, my daughter asked, "Do you still love Mom?" I didn't flinch. I loved the version of her that loved us back. She nodded. That was enough. I wrote Rachel one final letter. Not to rekindle anything. Not for closure. Just to say what needed saying. "Rachel, this isn't a plea. It's not a threat. It's a line in the sand that doesn't need to be crossed anymore. You chose the shortcut. I chose the rebuild. One of us will wake up one day wondering how it all slipped away. The other one already knows." Logan. I didn't send it. I burned it in the backyard fire pit, watching the words curl and vanish. Sometimes the best revenge isn't rage. It's resilience. It's living better, quieter, stronger, while the people who underestimated you have to live with the echo of what they lost. And me? I didn't lose. I walked away carrying everything that mattered.